Well, we want to talk about that jobs report that came out, that closely followed May report. And we want to bring into the stream now Evan Sohn. He's from Recruiter.com. He's the Recruiter.com's chairman and CEO. Evan, thanks so much for joining us. I guess, first of all, kind of want to talk about your initial reaction to this morning's print of non-farm payroll employment rising by 559,000 in the month of May.
Well, look, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. Our index that we come out with every month, we use as a predictor for what the job market's looking like. And we certainly saw the sentiment tick up from 2 months ago. So this month it ticked up by 1 to 3.8 out of 5. So really glad to see recruiter sentiment is higher. Of course, we're elated to see that people are getting hired again. Though I'm still concerned that the numbers just aren't happening fast enough. And there are a lot of reasons that that's actually occurring. Some bright spots were things like seeing hospitality come back and those jobs. But we're really seeing over 40% of the recruiters that we surveyed commented that salaries are increasing from April to May, which is, again, part of the overall jobs numbers that you're seeing today. But there still is this incredible talent shortage in a number of areas, people less likely to come back to work. And you're seeing companies now really shift around how to attract talent differently, whether it's signing bonuses, increased salaries, et cetera.
Evan, you see this from a vantage point the rest of us don't because of the clients who use Recruiter.com. So when we lose, for instance, the unemployment benefits in September, that some people say are actually slowing down the return of people to jobs. Do you think that's an accurate or potential explanation as to what we're seeing in these jobs numbers missing for now 2 months in a row?
Yeah, absolutely. We saw our own clients, and again, you look at when do you use a recruiter? Use a recruiter when it's a real needle in a haystack, or you need a stack of needles. Those are really when you use a recruiter. And we saw our own clients have either churn or people not interested in those jobs, and we started to really create new pools of talent, which we launched this past month called First Jobber. Really helping people get their first job because there's a tremendous in the millions and millions of underemployed people have yet to be in the workforce. And we think they could be a great pool of candidates to use, post-high school grads, post-college grads, for what used to be those lower hourly workers, because those folks really just want to get an experience.
Yeah, I totally hear you on, the first timers. I kind of want to circle back, though, in talking about what you're kind of hearing from clients, I guess, from the employer side on what they're doing to entice people to come back to work or attract new talent. Was there anything in there that may have surprised you from your perspective?
Yeah. So the thing that was interesting, we started asking them, are the jobs that you're recruiting for in person, remote, or hybrid? And actually, it was interesting. This past month, hybrid ticked down. Remote went up and in person went up, but the hybrid actually went down. And we think that employers are saying, look, we're just going to give you clarity. If you want to work remote, we're going to let you work remote completely because that's a talent shortage. If you want to be in person, because I need to be in person, I don't have Wi-Fi at home, I don't have proper area in my home to work, or work remotely or work in a hybrid, I'm going to go in person. And so I think there's a little bit of clarity there. Really interesting is one of the survey questions we ask are, what's the average salary of the person you're recruiting for? And we usually had, like last month, there was 15% of the recruiters working on sub $40,000 salaries. So it's $15,000 to $40,000. That number went from 15% down to 11%, replaced with the 40 to 80 went up from 15 to 18, from 18 to 21%. So we're really seeing that salary band move. That means that employers are spending more money to attract that talent. And we're seeing anecdotally companies offering signing bonuses, referral bonuses, and other incentives to keep employees and attract employees. And we think this First Jobber initiative, going after a different set of people for those roles, is also going to have an impact on hiring.
So help us understand this candidate sentiment rating, because it was down. And from what I'm hearing you say, if it's a candidate's market or it's a seller's market, they should be cheering. What's going on?
Yeah, so when we saw the candidate sentiment go down, that was you're on the mark. I asked the same thing, right? How could sentiment go down? Sentiment should be really high. The sentiment really is my desire to seek a new job. That actually is what ticked down, and my open to new opportunities and new job. And I think by ticking down, that's really this: either I'm going to take the summer off, I'm going to wait till my benefits run out, till I have to go back to work. My kids are now back at school. Maybe they'll be in school in September, but they're home now. I'm not ready to go back to work yet. So the sentiment was down. We still believe that there's going to be a tremendous, just like travel's coming back in fierce storm, I think there's going to be a tremendous voluntary churn in corporate America, as well as people who stayed put during the pandemic who are now going to look for an opportunity or career elsewhere.
No, that's interesting. Can we explore that a bit further, like this kind of voluntary churn? And when do you think that will start to happen? You think it's going to happen this summer, going into the fall? Would love to kind of explore that idea further.
Yeah, so what most people don't know is that there's a 22 to 27% annual corporate voluntary churn. So while we see these numbers and we see that over 500,000 people were added, those are added jobs. Those aren't actual hires that were made. Those are added jobs. You look at some of the public job boards and they have 10 million. I checked yesterday morning, 10.5 million open jobs. So the 500 plus thousand that we saw this morning are really the new jobs being added. So there's regular churn. And what you start to see is as salaries increase, even in those hourly workers, we had clients that lost their candidates, whether it's a call center representative, a financial services representative, left the company to go work someplace else, even for 50 cents to $1 more per hour. So that is that voluntary shift that's happening. And if I need to work remotely or I need to work in a hybrid mode and my company is now forcing everyone to come back to work, that's going to impact my desire to say, you know what, I'm not going to go back to work 5 days a week inside of an office. And you're going to see that churn. And remember, as long as it's a candidate's market, in that high skilled role, the highly skilled talent, the IT services, even the high end business services, companies will be more inclined to cater to those roles if need be. You're also seeing other employers say, hey, look, we have a culture that we're trying to build, and that culture requires in-person. And so I think those are really things that conflict. I need that talent, but I want to still build my culture and do that in person. And that's going to create this overall churn.
Well, Aaron Sohn, CEO and chairman of Recruiter.com, really interesting insights from you. I thank you so much for your time today.